So first, fronts. I remember sitting in the staff meeting when I was young, and Gary Darnell when I was coaching at Western. Guys. There's only 7 ways to set your eagle. Okay, he used to always use an old school guy, D. Corrier, coach for Lou Holtz, and at Notre Dame, and he's like, you got a strong or a tight, you got a weak split. Okay, and then you got your field, your boundary, your right, your left, and then you got your set to your stud. Okay, whatever star dog you want to call it. Okay, so basically what this is we have a tight front. A tight is basically we're setting it to the tight end. That's what we call a tight. A tight G is talking to the nose. We want him in a shade on the center, the tight. In a tight G, we're just setting him a shade in the nose, so you get that 2I. A tight G opposite. Gary Patterson was a big thing we called split. Split G used to run. So that means the end would be over here, the attack would be over here. All these guys would be flipped, and we just line up in that front. But the moment we start running this, like, I never want to have that attack covered up by a tight end because he's our skinny little freak guy coming off the edge. So we just kind of progress to be a tight G opposite, just so we can get that equal to the weak side. Outlaw, they're both out. Tim, they're both 2 eyes, okay? And then heads, we just have their head up techniques. So basically those are the main fronts that we run. Okay, stunts. When you develop a stunt in this package, again, you're thinking of every word. Every person is individualized in any defense. For our tackle, he needs to know tin and tie. Tackle in, tackle over guard, okay? Nin, nose in, nog, nose over guard, or not, nose out, okay? You got to go to the ends, ek, and then C gap, ed, and then D gap. Pretty simple, right? Fire and boot, it's hard to come up with A words, right? So fire in, boot out, okay? So remember his 2 words that he needs to know. 2-man concepts. So 1 word moves multiple guys. We have aim. This is like TCU, just right out of the playbook, okay? So if you're wondering what they're doing, it's just the same verbatim. Aim is away. The 2 guys go away from the tight end, or to where we set the front, I should say. Toro 2, directions. You have a linebacker in there, and they start humping around that H-back or the fullback. They can go random lucky and get those guys slanted that way. You can do that at heads. You can do that of a tight front or a tight G. Indian, they're both going in, out, they're both going out. Pretty simple. A lot of these stuff, too, you're going to use in blitz games, okay? Well, that's why you need all these movements. You're like, why would you run an alt? Why would you start in 10 and go alt? That way, that makes no sense. It's for a blitz game. You need to have those words every universal way. Army talks about everybody. Everybody's away. So this would be a tight G Army. You set your front tight. Everybody knows it's set to the tight end. We're going away. The whole group is slanting away. This would be a tight tank. So now it's tight. So with the nose in the shade here, he goes across the face of that center. Tight tank. Pinching, everybody's pinching in. Bulls is something kind of neat. These 2 things. Jet's pretty simple. It's pass rush, giddy up and go. We use bull a lot for draws and screens. The 2nd 15. Everybody in the world's like screaming, "Hey, watch it, draw a screen, draw a screen." Okay, so what bull does is it tells our nose and our tackles that they can play in the shade or head up, and they have to they're basically bull rushing that guard. They're not creating penetration. They're just looking straight ahead. Okay, they're playing the draw on the screen. The best way to defend the draw is you don't want to pick a side, right? So they can't run you up the field. So that's why we're keeping them square. We don't want to have them turn and run and pick a side. So we're head up with them. So we have a 2-way goal. So we're 2-gapping basically. It allows your ends basically in this situation to do whatever the hell they want. Our ends love what we call bull. Because now they can go off the edge, they can tee it up, they can say, okay, here's my chance. I can make an inside pass rush move, because up till now my coach is telling me, contain. Okay? When we get a bull call on, they can make an inside pass rush move. So all we tell these guys is look for draw, screen, and a flash. We call it a flash. So if the DN takes an inside move and he flashes in your lane, then you replace it and it's just an automatic twist, game as you see here. If he takes an outside speed rush or does an outside move, he stays in here looking for draw and screen. We've gotten picks off of this. We got one this year again. Our nose tackle got one off of this. Twist games. If you look at twist games, we have the inside guys. We call them TAN. Tackle first and then the nose. Okay? A nap is just the opposite. The nose is a stunner. Your tackle is the looper. Pretty simple stuff, right? Gate's an interesting one too. It's basically a read. It's a read stuff for inside 2 guys. They both aim for the V of the neck. okay? So they're aiming for the V of the neck. If that center steps to you, you're the automatic looper, okay? So you're both aiming for the V of the neck, because if he steps one direction, you're coming tight off his ass, and you're responsible for the opposite pass rush lane. He steps to you, you hit, and then automatically, it's like swinging a gate. You got your gate here, and it swings, okay? So that's what we call a gate, all right? So those are the inside guys. The outside guys, we use a U-meet technique, okay? So if we call a U game, the end is always talking, because they're the dudes on the outside, okay? So they're the ones that always talk. So if he wants a twist, that guy goes and he wants a twist underneath, he calls you. He's just calling on who the stunter is. Hey, you be the stunter, I'm gonna be the looper, okay? So this makes it fun, because when I get down to here, I'll show you, but, so this is a typical U game, this is a me game. I'm gonna stunt, I'm gonna give them a hard setup step, maybe 1-2, and they come underneath, so it's an inside pass rush move. You come over top and keep contained. You can go weak U, double me, double U, whatever you wanna conjure up, whatever. But games basically, literally single in is, you know what, DNs, you know what you're best at, do whatever the hell you want, I don't give a shit. We got 4 guys rushing the passer, and you know, our starting DN might like this game. Our backup DN, if he's in the game, he might just like the jet, that might be his specialty. So instead of me having to pick and choose what the hell they're good at, let them have some freedom, just call games and just do whatever you want. We just want a 4-man rush against it. So they call it, they can call a U, a me, a jet. They can also call a bull, right? Because bull says, hey, I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want. You just watch me, just make me right, okay? So we added some other things as we progressed. They're on the playbook here. Run twists. Everybody's got, and those U and me games are mostly pass twists, okay? You can run up maybe a UV stunt against his own team, but most of those are mostly pass. These are basically run twists. These were picked up basically from a little after they kind of did with the 425. Every year we used to meet, it was an invite-only clinic at TCU, so all the 425 guys would kind of go there and they'd sit in a room like this and they'd just grind it, okay? So we used to go there every single year, which was kind of cool, because then it's like, hey, what are you guys seeing? What are you guys doing? And everybody was speaking the same language, which was cool. But they started looking at Warren Sapp when he played for the Buccaneers. And that's why it's called Pirate Pop from Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this is Warren Sapp right here at the nose. So basically the run twist, what they're doing is basically, this is a great game to stop power. So basically what you're doing is you're stunting your 5 or your 7 technique, there's a tight end there, stunting them in the A and B gaps, okay? Your nose is gonna hold point on the backside in that A gap. If it's a run, he's holding right there. So basically, this is a good stunt, pirate, against power teams. And we run this a lot. If it happens to be a pass, you're like, oh shit, our end just went into B gap, we have 0 contain. Okay, so that's when you saw Sapp would boom, they'd tilt nose him too, and they'd play right here, and he'd red pass, and then he'd bust around the edge here, and he'd be contained. So he'd be the inside pass rush lane, outside, and he'd just keep contained on this side. The pop was good against more of the ISO weak teams. You know, on that side where you got Whitewater, we ran a shitload of pop back when they were more their traditional offensive 2-back when more Leopold was there earlier. But you know, we had the Mike linebacker right here, and then they might have twins out here. So our other guy was stretched, our safety was stretched, and it was hard to spill to him. So basically, if he was removed, we'd run a lot of pop games for the run, knowing that we could always have a pass game out of it. So basically, we'd stunt him in to screw up that ISO, so that fullback would have to track and bounce out here, so we could get the Mike linebacker spilling, and that ball would be bounced out here to where it helpless. And if it was a pass, then our nose would just loop around to the opposite side. Okay, so you have a strong game and a weak game, but these are basically just strictly run twists. Your linebacker stunts, pretty simple. And these are, remember, we use a watch, so I'll show you what our watch looks like here in a little bit when we talk about blitzes. But these are for more blitzes. So if you're coming and we just want Sam A, we literally run the watch, Sam A, Mike B. Sack means Sam across the center, Mike across center, South, Sam out wide, Mike out wide. Okay, so just create those basically acronyms to get what you want.